necklace felt like a noose around Maya's neck. She stood in front of her bathroom mirror, fingers trembling as they found the delicate silver chain, the one he had clasped around her neck 6 months ago, whispering promises that now tasted like ash in her memory. The pendant, a tiny crescent moon, caught the morning light and threw it back at her like an accusation. 3 weeks. It had been 3 weeks since Daniel walked out of her apartment, out of her life, leaving nothing but the echo of, "I can't do this anymore," hanging in the air like smoke. 3 weeks of staring at this necklace every morning, unable to take it off, unable to keep it on. 3 weeks of drowning. Today, that would change. Maya's hands moved with sudden determination, unclasping the chain and letting it pool in her palm. The silver was warm from her skin, still holding the ghost of her body heat, still holding the ghost of who she used to be when she believed in forever. "No more," she whispered to her reflection, and this time she meant it. The autumn wind carried the scent of dying leaves and rain as Maya made her way down Elderberry Street, a narrow cobblestone road she'd never noticed before, despite living in this neighborhood for 2 years. Funny how heartbreak makes you see your world differently, makes you take different routes, discover different corners of a life that suddenly needs to be rebuilt from scratch. The sign was easy to miss. Blackwood & Co. Estate jewelry in faded gold letters, hanging from a wrought iron post that creaked in the wind. The shop itself looked like it had been plucked from another century, narrow, pressed between a closed bookstore and a cafe, with windows so dusty the jewelry inside seemed to glow from another realm entirely. A bell chimed as Maya pushed open the heavy wooden door, the sound eerily musical, almost like laughter. The interior was dim, lit by amber lamps that cast long shadows across glass cases filled with treasures from forgotten lives. Rings that once symbolized eternal love, brooches that had been pinned to the chests of women long dead, necklaces that had witnessed both joy and sorrow. "Welcome, dear." The voice came from the back of the shop, soft and ancient as erosion. An old woman emerged from behind a velvet curtain, moving with the careful grace of someone who had learned to navigate a world that had grown too fast around her. She must have been in her 80s, perhaps older, with silver hair piled in an intricate bun and eyes that seemed to see straight through Maya's carefully constructed composure. I need to sell something," Maya said, her voice catching. She pulled the necklace from her coat pocket, laying it on the glass counter between them like an offering, like a confession. The old woman, her name tag read Esther, picked up the necklace with surprising tenderness, holding it up to the light. The crescent moon spun slowly, hypnotically, catching reflections from the amber lamps. "Ah," Esther murmured, and in that single sound, Maya heard understanding. "A love token. These are always the hardest to let go." "How did you—" "My dear, I've been in this business for 63 years. Every piece tells a story, and heartbreak has a very particular weight." Esther's eyes, cloudy with age but sharp with wisdom, studied Maya with something that looked like pity. "Are you certain you want to sell it?" "I'm certain I don't want to keep it." Esther nodded slowly, setting the necklace on a velvet tray. She pulled out a jeweler's loupe, examining the silver, testing the weight, running her fingers along the chain, as if reading Braille. Finally, she looked up. "I can give you $80 for it." $80. 3 months of love, 6 months of believing in something beautiful, 3 weeks of crying into her pillow, all worth $80. "Okay," Maya whispered, because what else was there to say? Esther moved to the antique cash register, but after counting out the bills, she paused, her hand hovering over the drawer. She said apologetically, "I'm afraid I'm a bit short. I have $70 in cash at the moment. Could you wait until tomorrow? I can have the rest then." The disappointment must have shown on Maya's face because Esther's expression shifted, a strange light entering her eyes. "Unless—" The old woman turned and disappeared behind the velvet curtain. She could hear her rummaging through boxes, the sound of wood scraping against wood, the whisper of fabric. When Esther returned, she was holding a small wooden box, ornately carved with symbols Maya didn't recognize. Spirals and stars and strange geometric patterns that seemed to shift in the lamplight. "I have a proposition," Esther said, opening the box with reverent care. Inside, nestled in black silk, was a ring. It was the most unusual piece of jewelry Maya had ever seen. The band appeared to be made of aged silver, but it had a strange iridescence to it, like oil on water, showing hints of purple and green and gold, depending on how the light struck it. The setting held a stone, if it could be called a stone, that was unlike anything in the jewelry cases around them. It was translucent, but not quite clear, with wisps of what looked like smoke or mist, trapped inside, moving, always moving, as if the ring contained a tiny storm. "This ring," Esther said quietly, "is very special, very old. It's been in my collection for longer than I cared to remember, waiting for the right person. Take it as collateral, a promise that I'll have your full payment tomorrow. Come back then, and I'll give you the remaining $10 and you can return the ring." Maya stared at the ring, transfixed. There was something about it that made her want to reach out, to touch it, to put it on, which was ridiculous. She'd come here to get rid of jewelry, not acquire more. "I don't know," Maya began. "Please," Esther said, and there was something urgent in her voice now, something almost desperate. "I insist. Consider it an old woman's eccentricity. Besides," she added with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes, "what's the harm in holding on to a ring for one night?" Maya's rational mind screamed warnings, but her broken heart, the part of her that was tired of being rational, tired of doing everything right only to end up alone, reached out and took the ring. The moment her fingers touched the silver, she felt it, a warmth that spread from her fingertips up her arm, settling somewhere near her chest, near her still healing heart. It wasn't unpleasant. In fact, it felt almost comforting. "Thank you," Maya heard herself saying, taking the $70 and the ring. "I'll come back tomorrow." Esther's smile was sad as she walked Maya to the door. "And Maya—" The old woman paused, her hand on the doorframe. "Wear it. Just once. I think you'll find it enlightening." "How did you know my name?" Maya asked, but Esther had already retreated behind the velvet curtain, leaving only the chiming of the bell and the weight of the ring in Maya's pocket. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur. Maya stopped at Luna's kitchen, the cozy Italian place 2 blocks from her apartment, and ordered her comfort meal, penne arrabbiata and tiramisu, taking it to go because eating alone in restaurants still felt too raw, too much like advertising her solitude. Her apartment welcomed her with its familiar silence. It was a small space, a 1-bedroom she'd moved into when she and Daniel had broken up the first time, 2 years ago, before they'd gotten back together with promises of, "We've both changed, and this time will be different." The furniture was minimal, the walls still mostly bare, as if some part of her had known even then that permanence was an illusion. Maya ate standing at her kitchen counter, barely tasting the pasta, then drew a bath hot enough to turn her skin pink. She sank into the water, trying to wash away the strange feeling that had been following her since she left the jewelry shop, a sensation of being watched, of standing on the edge of something vast and unknowable. Get it together, she told herself. It's just a ring. You'll return it tomorrow, and that'll be the end of it. But her hand kept drifting to her coat pocket, where the ring rested, as if drawn by invisible strings. After her bath, wrapped in her oversized terry cloth robe, Maya settled onto her couch with her dinner and queued up Pride and Prejudice, the 1995 BBC version, because if she was going to wallow, she was going to do it properly, with Mr. Darcy emerging from that lake in a wet shirt. Halfway through the second episode, she remembered the ring. Maya padded to the bedroom and pulled it from her coat pocket. Under the soft glow of her bedside lamp, it looked even stranger than it had in the shop. The mist inside the stones swirling more actively now, almost agitated. She set it carefully on her nightstand, next to her phone and her half-empty glass of water. Sleep didn't come easily. Maya lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the city, sirens in the distance, the couple upstairs arguing, the hiss of pipes in the walls. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Daniel's face, heard his voice saying, "I can't do this anymore," felt the crushing weight of not being enough, never being enough. At some point, exhaustion won. Maya's eyes drifted shut, and she fell into dreams that felt more like memories, or perhaps memories that felt like dreams. She was running through a city that was her city, but also wasn't, chasing someone she couldn't quite see, calling out a name she couldn't quite remember.
Thank you for watching episode 1 of The Ring Between Worlds. Trust that more episodes are coming out soon. Please subscribe, like, and share your thought in the comments section. See you soon.